So every once in a while, I get a pre-workout sent to me that lives up to its name. What's happening, guys? Hope your day's going well. Today, we're going to review Renagade Labs God Mode. This is a STIM Junkie pre-workout. We're going to go over the ingredients, the DMHA and the DMAA in it, and the effects on this bad boy. So if you're new to the channel, you like stuff like that, hit the subscribe button. Love to have you along for the ride. So jumping right into the flavor. We don't give a hoot nanny about the flavor, do we? Because this is not for, look, this is not for beginners. So if you're a beginner looking into this thing, this is a hard hitter. I don't recommend this for beginners at all, but if you do choose to do it, the flavor is about a couple steps down from good. So it is not just tolerable. They did a really good job with the flavor on this sucker. So jumping right into the ingredients so we can get into the effects on this thing. I'll put the ingredient profile right in front of me. We got servings, 25 per container, and it's one scoop. It's supposed to be 9.5 grams. One pack level flat scoop is about 8.8 grams. So it's a little bit off. You need a scale on this thing. But if you don't have a scale, let's go over this real quick. If you don't have a scale, for those that don't have a food scale, which doesn't make sense to me, because if you're training, trying to build muscle, you better be weighing your food. But if you don't have a scale, take a big heaping scoop like that, shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it until you have a little bit of a dome on it like that. Just a little bit over, that's about the 9.5 grams, and you'll be good. So getting into the ingredients, the goodies here. We got L-citrulline at 4 grams. It's for vasodilation, for nutrients and oxygen to be delivered to the muscle cells to produce more ATP and energy. This also is an ammonia regulator, so it's gonna buffer ammonia that might build up in the muscle. That's where you get that burn from. So you can get more reps and more sets out of the workout there. It's also going to help with the cell swelling or the tightness that you might get from this pre-workout. Then we got beta-alanine at 2 grams. This is for more reps, more sets in the gym. This buffers another metabolite, hydrogen, from building up in the muscle. You get hydrogen in the muscle too much, it throws off the pH levels in the muscle, and you lose your contractional capability. Then we have Pico 2 at 1 gram. You're going to hear me say, when I see this in a pre-workout, that it doesn't belong. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, Pico 2 has to be to a saturation point to get the studied effects with the less lactic acid and the endurance. But Pico 2, I did a review that I'll be posting pretty soon. I already recorded it. It's Axe and Sledge's Pico 2, and I kind of go over Pico 2 a little bit more. But this is a mushroom blend. And this is perfect to have in a STIM Junkie pre-workout because it's got 2 ingredients in it on a health side of things. One ingredient is an amino acid called ergothioneine, which is for superoxides that might build up in the body. And this amino acid has been shown to be as powerful as glutathione as far as antioxidant capabilities. Then it also has beta-glucans, and beta-glucans go into the intestinal tract, and there's some immune cells in the intestinal tracts. I think they're called neutrophils. And these immune cells are supercharged by beta-glucans attaching to them. So it boosts up your immunity. So I think it's a fantastic ingredient in a STIM Junkie pre-workout as far as to offset the oxidative stress that you might get from the DMHA and the DMAA. So they did a really good job as far as I'm concerned. Then we got Vasodrive AP at 500 milligrams. So this is a derivative, a tripeptide. This is from casein protein. And it's a tripeptide of valine. The peptides are valine, proline, and isoleucine. And what this does, this increases eNOS. It also helps with inflammation, and it blocks angiotensin 2, which angiotensin 1 can turn to angiotensin 2, and it can cause vasorestriction. One of my favorite pump ingredients. So this really dilates the blood vessels. So along with L-citrulline, it's going to provide more oxygen to the muscles, more energy, more output in the gym. Then we have caffeine anhydrous at 325 milligrams. Caffeine blocks adenosine, so it attaches to the adenosine receptors, one in the heart, one in the brain, A1 and A2A adenosine receptors. And this boosts up your energy levels by keeping the adenosine away because adenosine makes you groggy. This also helps with the release of calcium ions in the muscles for stronger contractions during your workouts. Then we have N-acetyl L-tyrosine at 250 milligrams. Tyrosine is a mood enhancer, cognitive function, and a stress reliever because what it does is it transfers over into L-dopa, then boosts dopamine in the brain, in turn boosts norepinephrine, and then from norepinephrine it turns into epinephrine. So a really good hitter. And then we have L-tyrosine by itself at 250 milligrams. So they're putting a double whammy there. So one's supposed to be faster reacting than the other one is. So I see this in STIM Junkie Pre's where some companies are actually doing this or using the two different versions of this because of the way some of these ingredients kick in faster than others. So by doing this, hopefully having the effect to where one kicks in sooner with the effects of certain ingredients and the other one kicks in later as you start to taper off or you need stress relief or something like that. So I like the combo. And that was 250 milligrams of straight L-tyrosine. Then we have DMHA at 150 milligrams. This has a PEA backbone. This attaches to the TAR1, TAR2 receptors, increases the catecholamines, dopamine, norepinephrine, and epinephrine. It also blocks the presympathetic and postsympathetic nerves in the brain, which absorb these catecholamines, so it actually keeps them elevated a lot longer, and it's hypothesized to be a MAO inhibitor. So monoamine oxidase in the brain is there to level out these catecholamines so they don't stay up for a long period of time. So it blocks that from coming in and trying to degrade them so it get longer hit, basically. Then we have Pure Energy Caffeine at 100 milligrams. This is a combination of caffeine and Turopure, which is an ingredient that is found in resveratrol. And it's supposed to be super resveratrol is what it is. And what this does is in the combination, it allows the caffeine to be absorbed and enhance the effects by almost 50% when you compare this ingredient dose to regular caffeine anhydrous. And it stays in your system for about 6 hours at a high level. So it's not like dicaffeine malate to where it tapers down. It stays high. Even at 6 hours, it's been shown to still be in the system at 50%. So really good to have that in there as far as that long hit to come off of something like this. Then we got hygenamine at 90 milligrams. So this is a bronchodilator. It has mild stimulant effects to it. So I've taken this on its own. It's mild. Coupled with caffeine, it kind of just enhances the effects. So it's going to help with energy expenditure. It's going to help with oxygen in your lungs. So you're going to be able to breathe a little bit better, which is going to help with your endurance in the gym as well. This is also a beta-2 agonist. So this is going to antagonize some fat release from the fat cells, which is then going to spike adrenaline and noradrenaline. Then we have DMAA at 75 milligrams. So this is compared to DMHA, but it's supposed to be DMHA. They say you need twice as much to get the effects of DMAA, and I don't believe that. I believe they're two separate different ingredients. They both provide stimulatory effects. They both provide cognitive function of focus. But DMAA, unlike DMHA, is structured more for an amphetamine. And it targets the catecholamine norepinephrine. So when you get hit with DMAA, it's feel good, but it's more like of a feel good kind of, could be aggressive, could be cocky type feeling that you get from that because of that noradrenaline spike. So this is going to couple well with the DMHA depending on the levels and the other ingredients in there as far as for cognitive function, focus, and energy and well-being. Then we have theophylline at 50 milligrams. So this is a bronchodilator, but what I like about this ingredient, has mild stimulatory effects and some blood flow benefits, but it regulates the heartbeat. So in STIM Junkie Pre's, I like the idea of theophylline inside of them, just for that heartbeat regulations and the increased blood flow. Then we got Nupept at 30 milligrams. This spikes nerve growth factor. It also has benefits with glutamate, regulating glutamate in the brain because too much glutamate can be toxic. And it also spikes 2 brain waves, not just one. So you have L-theanine, it spikes just alpha brain waves, and that brings you down, dials you down into a alert, relaxed state. At least it's supposed to. This one actually spikes both brain waves, alpha and beta. And there's different levels of brain waves, and alpha brain wave is the relaxed, alert state, and beta brain waves are a more uppity thought process and energetic functioning in the brain. So, Renagade Labs, God Mode, how did it do? So you first take the scoop here, and the beta-alanine comes in about 5 minutes. It hits pretty good. For 2 milligrams, it hits pretty good at a medium level, and it lasts for about 10 minutes. And the first time I took it, I felt it hanging around for a total of about 30 minutes. When I took it today, which was the third time, I got lost in it. It's like I lost it. I was like, where'd it go? Because what happens is this thing comes in pretty fast. 15 minutes, maybe a little sooner for some people. Energy, cognitive function comes in. And this is not crazy energy, but it is an anxious energy. And this anxious energy comes in, and it's kind of a medium level anxious energy that you want to get moving. But at the same time, let's say you get stuck doing something and you just can't get to the gym in 30 minutes and it's like going to be 45 minutes. You can ride this one out without getting kind of just, too anxious. But it's a full body anxiousness. It's anxious brain. It's anxious physical energy that comes in about 15, 20 minutes. And it builds and peaks around 30 minutes. And then pretty much that's the energy level you're left with. And I'd say for another 15 minutes, after the 30 minutes peak, it kind of, the anxious energy dials down and smooths out. And then you have this physical high-end energy that is going to last you for at least 2 hours of training. And when it dials down after 2 hours, it dials into this smooth type energy hit. But well, I want to talk about two different things here: the cognitive function and focus and the brainwave hit. So it comes in with that anxious hit, and what it does is that anxious head hit is more of a beta brainwave hit. So your brain is just really firing. You're focused, you've been dialed in that you took your pre-workout and you're doing this to go train. So you're dialed in to the idea that you want to train. So you're always thinking above anything else that comes up in front of it. So if you got to get your bag ready, if you got to put your socks on, if you got to do something like that, you can walk out of the house with your shoes off or your pants on backwards. So you got to pay attention because you're so focused on getting to the gym with that beta brainwave hit. Now, when this nootropic hit starts to dial down, when the anxious energy and the 2 hours of training dials down, all of a sudden the beta brainwave hit will stay for a little bit, and it switches over into an alpha brainwave hit, more of a relaxed, alert state. This thing lasts, that hit and the stim hit and the awakeness and the anxiousness hangs on still. Even though you're not on the high end for about 5 hours, you still feel this underlying anxiousness where outside of the gym, you want to keep moving and you want to go forward. So you can give a crap because you're better. You're God. This is God mode here about this guy over here or this person over here. And when you're driving or when you're moving, you're just going around them because you're in God mode. You're in control and you have power. So very interesting hit. This is an in your head. We'll get into the mood too. This is an in your head and it peaks, like I said, around 30 minutes. Dialed in. I am sore from the contractions that this thing gave me. I don't think it's been a long time since I've had a pre-workout that dialed me in so deeply into my contractions. And it was fantastic. But I'll tell you something. I woke up sore yesterday from training the day before. And then today, after training yesterday on it, I was even sorer. So even though you're in God mode, it can draw you into some really strong ass training and effects that you get from pushing your ass in the gym. Your strength will be up, your endurance will be up, and your power output will be up on this thing. The nootropic hit lasts a little longer than the stim anxious feeling because when you drop off into that alpha brainwave hit with the slight stim feeling still around 5 hours after it, you still have a concentration and focus going on even beyond that point. But it's not harsh. So if you took this 6.5 hours before you go to bed or you're taking it at night, you'll still be able to dial down, I feel. Like, I don't think it's going to keep, the brain hit's going to keep you awake because it's more of like a healthy hit. You really come off of this really super nice. Alpha brainwave, relaxed and alert for the rest of the day. The pumps on this, and we'll get into the mood, were tight. Super nice pumps. And I believe they were vascular, got some vasodilation, and not vasodilation, but some vascular pumps as far as the veins popping out. And you got some nice tight pumps because of the 2 hits in there, or 3 hits of the vasodilation from the theophylline, from the vasodrive AP, and from the L-citrulline. It just really gives you some tight pumps, but that neural connection that you get from this bad boy just enhances all those effects. So you're tight throughout the day. I still feel tight, and it's been like 7 hours since I've trained. I'm just coming off of this right now. So I'm hoping this review is going to come out okay, because I'm still kind of in my head. Mood on this thing. This is, I kind of explained it when I was talking about driving afterwards and moving around. This is God mode. So you are in control. This is a positive, confident, moving forward, driven mood to it. So this is unlike a lot of the DMHA STIM Junkie pre-workouts that I've used. This really gives you this confidence, sense of well-being, feeling good, and just a drive to get shit done. I really liked it. I think this is a really good pre-workout. For those that are new to STIM Junkie pre-workouts, these are harsh. This is something you don't want to take 5-6 days a week. But you could probably handle, if you're a STIM junkie, I would assume you're going to handle 3 days, maybe 4 days. So it's up to you guys on how you guys choose to use something like this. I personally like to take like 3-4 days off between DMHA hitters. It doesn't, or DMAA, it doesn't always work that way because I'm reviewing things and trying to get things knocked out so you guys can have reviews every other day. But that's why I try to shoot for. So other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed the review. This is Dave. I'm signing off. Renagade Labs, God mode. Hope you guys enjoyed it. You guys have a good one. I'm going to get on with the rest of my day. We'll see you next time on the channel.